Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's 1 Million by 1 Million Strategy Roundtable for Entrepreneurs. 1 Million by 1 Million, as you know, is the first and only global virtual incubator accelerator in the world. Our mission is to help 1 million entrepreneurs reach $1 million and beyond in annual revenue, build $1 trillion of global GDP, and 10 million jobs. And the only reason we are here is to support your entrepreneurial journey. So this is our 252nd roundtable. We've been doing this for a long time, and it's been a really interesting experience hearing from entrepreneurs from all corners of the world, and literally all corners of the world, and learning what you're up to, what kind of things are you working on, and it's been a real privilege to get this window and the opportunity to work with you to help you a little bit along your journey. The event is being recorded. You will find every single recording of our roundtables available on our YouTube channel. If you're live tweeting the show, please use #1M1M. Our two Twitter handles are @1M by1M, and my personal one is @Stromana. Both of those channels broadcast an incredibly rich set of content, both quality-wise and quantity-wise. We try to keep you inspired and educated in what's happening in the entrepreneurial universe on a continuous basis. So we're constantly producing great content. That's the only thing we actually do in terms of marketing ourselves. We really don't do much other marketing other than just publish, very, very high quality content that you would find useful in learning and getting inspired. The YouTube channel is 1M1M Roundtables, and you'll find all recordings, all prior session recordings there, and this one will also go on over there. So if you need to share it with somebody or replay it, you will have everything available. These are the teleconference call-in instructions. We are not ready for call-in yet, so I will put this up when we are ready for call-in. So as you know, this year in January, we published the 12th volume of our well-known Entrepreneur Journey series now, Billion-Dollar Unicorns. And as part of the launch events of that book, we've been inviting entrepreneurs who have built companies that are on the billion-dollar unicorn journey or already have hit that milestone. So we are going to have a wonderful conversation today with Rob Hull, founder and chairman of Adaptive Insights. I first met Rob some time back and covered his story on the blog on the Entrepreneur Journey series. Some of you may have read it. If you haven't, I highly recommend the story. It's a very insightful, interesting story. And today we're going to really, spend some more time with Rob and have a chance to learn from him. Welcome, Rob. Thank you for making time.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here and really an honor to join you today.
Well, where do you want to start? I think, first and foremost, the fact that your company is definitely on track. I don't know where you are since we last spoke. You're going to fill us in. But the fact that it is in the unicorn pool is something that's, congratulations for that first and foremost. Let's start with your explaining to our audience what is it that Adaptive Insights does and why it's growing so fast.
Sure. So let's see. Adaptive Insights, we're really the leader in cloud-based corporate performance management. And so what is that? Well, at a high level, we help companies, and in particular the finance organization, to bring tools to bear that help essentially manage the company better, giving them insight into what's happened in the past and helping them to project the future. And we do that through essentially tools that are budgeting, forecasting, reporting, analytics, again, all available in the cloud. And essentially, if you're familiar with the space at all, players like a Hyperion or Cognos, we've essentially kind of come into that space with a cloud-based model and tried to do to Hyperion what Salesforce did to Siebel.
And if I remember correctly, your focus, however, is mostly on the finance function? You look at it from the point of view of finance and pull data from all across the organization, yes?
Yes, that's correct. We typically come into an organization through finance, through the CFO, the Office of the CFO, FP&A, but from that entry point into the organization, we're then typically on the desktops of managers across the company. Because if you think about managing your business, and in particular financial management and operational management around resources, that's not a centralized function, that's happening across the organization. And so through finance, actually getting a window and a seat at the table with the rest of the organization as well.
So I would like to go back to when you started the company, and you know, we have heard from a number of entrepreneurs who have followed the lean startup methodology to start their companies. You have not. You raised money right away. So I would like to actually double-click down on that very early stage process of how you managed to pull off raising $4.5 million as your Series A to get this company going. So take us back to that beginning of the journey.
Sure. Well, interestingly, it's been a while. So that was back in 2003. I've been at this for about 12 years now. You know, I was fortunate to raise money at an interesting time, you know, sort of on the end of the bubble, and the economy was good but really not great back then. I think that the couple of things were key to what we were able to do. One, we really had a disruptive business model proposition. Two, we found a venture partner that understood what we were going after. Terry Oppendyke at Onset really had a good understanding of the Excel space and the finance space, and really connected with me on the business problem that we were trying to solve. I think the third piece of that was then the opportunity to spend about 6 months working with Onset inside of the VC, and in fact actually borrowing an office from them as we then really built out the initial business plan, understood what the market might look like, did a lot of market research. And so that market research was kind of twofold. First was customer-centric, making sure we understood what the customer's needs were, what our value proposition to them would be, validating product feature set and some of the things that we thought we would go off to build. The second aspect of that kind of early validation and early research was really business model and go-to-market strategy. We spent a lot of time talking to partners, potential channel partners of ours, to understand the direct go-to-market channel, the indirect go-to-market channel, and when and how might we be able to leverage both models. So yeah, raising money before you have even built product or put a team together was something I think we're fortunate to have done. I'm not sure it happens all that often these days, and frankly, I'm not even sure I would go back and do it quite the same way. But that's how we got off the ground, and with the capital, then we're able to get things underway.
So I'm going to do one more layer of, you know, peeling the onion, so to speak, just because this is that very early stage processes where we have a huge audience, and I think there's something to be learned from your journey on that score. So you were an EIR at Onset Ventures, and you know, for 6 months you basically immersed yourself in customers. And correct. You said you spoke to 50, 60 CFOs. Now, let me ask you something very specific. When you went to talk to these CFOs, who would be your customers, these were SMB CFOs, right?
Correct.
Did you present a picture of what you wanted to build, or did you start with questions? What was your specific process in extracting the nuggets out of them?
Yeah, at that point, sort of pre-financing, we didn't even have wireframe design. We didn't even have sort of a visual image to present them. It was almost all discussion. And a lot of it was listening. It was asking questions, understanding the business process that they went through at the time, the tools they were using at the time, and really trying to elicit out of them what were the biggest problems that we could try to solve for them, because essentially you needed to provide something better than what was being done. And a lot of what we were trying to figure out was, well, what wasn't working, and therefore how could we make that better and really add value? And so there was a tremendous amount of question asking and a lot of listening. And then we would jump into, all right, that's great, we hear what you're saying. Here's what we're thinking, and here's how we might go about it. And if we did that, what would you think? Would you pay money for that? Is that valuable enough that you would change your processes for that? And try to get a gauge of, is this a nice to have or is this a need to have? And will they pay a little for this, or will they actually pay a lot for this? How valuable do they see this particular product? And that was very helpful. I'll say once we raised money and had a bit of a team to spend some time on this, we continued that customer discussion, in fact, still continue it today. I think it's a huge part of really, particularly with a cloud business, you've got to understand the customer and what their needs are continuously. But we evolved the conversation from being as much question and sort of research and a little bit more of, here's now more concretely what we're thinking. Here's some design, here's some mock-ups of product. And then over time that continued to evolve into, here's actually a product, and let's sit down and let you begin to play with that. We brought an early advisory board on after a couple of months of early product design, and got groups of CFOs together to provide us with very specific product feedback as well. And so that conversation evolved from just discussion and question asking to then much more in-depth presentation as we went along, say, that first 12, 18 months.
Now, all this was framed in your own personal experience consulting with finance organizations before you started even your discussions with Onset, where you did notice that the whole financial planning and forecasting process was incredibly cumbersome and the tools didn't exist. So you were coming at this with some understanding of what pain point you had experienced yourself.
Yeah, I think that's probably something I should have said earlier. This really was, I was CFO for a number of different technology companies, and so in large part I was trying to solve my own problem. I was sort of frustrated with the tools that were available and really saw a tremendous market opportunity here, which is really what we capitalized on. But it was based on my own experience, my own knowledge as a CFO, and that, frankly, that helped a lot in the conversations that we had, being able to really understand and kind of dive deep with all of these folks that we were talking to, having sat in their seat and understood their problems firsthand.
And where did the relationship with Onset come from? It sounds like that was a key relationship that allowed you to have this, privileged position. What was the genesis of that?
Yeah, so I was friends with one of the partners, or am still friends with one of the partners there, who I guess I'm fortunate to live in Silicon Valley and have been a CFO for a number of venture-backed companies, so I had a reasonable network of venture contacts. Oh. And it turned out that in this particular case that Onset was a particularly good fit, very early stage investor, and that, again, I found a partner in Terry that really understood this space. And I think that's very important as you're thinking about VCs. It's not just the firm itself, but really it's the partner that you work with, and finding somebody that understands really the business problem you're trying to solve is incredibly helpful. I mean, that's I think the fortunate part of kind of working with Onset was finding someone who really understood, and actually Terry's a very he's a great kind of mentor and teacher, and I think that where I was at the time played very well into that relationship.
Right. So what did you do with the $4.5 million that you raised in Series A? What were the milestones that you were able to accomplish that kind of set you up for the next phase of hypergrowth?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, we set out, as we raised it, we sort of said, hey, here's what we're going to accomplish with this money. And we did that. 3 key goals for us. One, obviously build product, as much product as we could in the time frame that we had. 2 was to build team. Keep in mind, again, we raised money and literally it was myself and my co-founder. There were no other employees. So we had to build a team, put product together, and we had set a goal of having early customer, actually signing early customers and getting early customer feedback. So with a handful of early customers, we had the beginnings of our product, and we had built out our team with that first round.
And these customers, a lot of them came from that 40, 50 CFOs who were part of the initial customer validation process.
Yeah, some of them did, and as I mentioned, we took some of those early customers, brought them in even closer to an early product advisory board. A few of those product advisory board members then ended up becoming early customers. I think when you've got something of value that people kind of get excited about, and it's people often laugh about finance people getting excited. It doesn't seem like that's what they think of when they think of finance, but our customers get pretty excited about the product, and what that resulted in and continues to result in today is a lot of word of mouth referral and introductions. So you use that early success to network and to get out to others, and we did that quite well.
Right. Now, what's happened since? Obviously, you are on a completely different scale and path at this point. So, take us through some of the highlights of how you've built the company to this stage.
Sure. I will say, from an entrepreneur's perspective, it's taken longer than I had expected at the beginning. I think that's probably true of most ventures, but things have. I'll say we started with a single product focus. It was a product focus on forecasting, forward-looking. We have now, over those years, expanded that to a full suite of products, again, all focused and targeted around this same process and that same customer, but expanding product over time. We've grown the geographies that we work with over time as well, so no longer just a domestic company, but international growth. We actually have customers now in about 85 countries around the world. And so over time, slowly building up a partner network around the world that has helped us to get into countries where we may not have feet on the street, but we've got great partnerships, and they act as both a local sales channel, servicing them, and then supporting them for us in the local market, in many cases in local language. So we've grown product over time. We've grown our channels over time. We've grown geographies over time. We've continued to expand the market focus that we have as well. So we came in very explicitly saying, hey, the market for us to play in is the mid-market. A number of reasons for that, which we can talk about. But as we then essentially got established in that space, continued to build out product capabilities, built out a broader reference and referral network, we also saw that we began to move up market quite a bit, such that today about 25% of our business really comes from enterprise customers and not just the mid-market. So while we're a clearly dominant mid-market player, we've also begun to grow up market fairly significantly. So product growth, geographic growth, channel growth, target market growth has all happened over the course of those 12 years. We're now, I think since we last talked, we're now about 2,500 customers around the world, so we've continued to grow our customer base quite significantly. And the company itself has grown, employee base has been growing quite a bit to support all of that customer growth as well.
So you talked about the initial product positioning versus how you have now broadened the target market and so forth, you did make the choice to go after mid-market CFOs as your primary market penetration point. That's where the product was positioned when you came into the market. What drove that decision, and what is driving the decision to broaden out of that now?
Yeah, that's a great question. We did decide initially that the market to serve was the mid-market. Why was that? Well, essentially, if you looked out at the market landscape, you've got Excel on the low end, and just about everybody using Excel, and then you've got large enterprise players, at the time Hyperion, Cognos, Business Objects, now Oracle, IBM, and SAP. They really dominated that enterprise space. What that left was a very big hole in the middle. The mid-market was very underserved, needing more than necessarily they got from Excel, but not necessarily comfortable with the cost and the overhead associated with some of the enterprise level products. And so we saw a big underserved market. What we also saw was that it's difficult for an enterprise company, especially one now the size of an IBM or an Oracle or an SAP, it's difficult for them to come down market. You know, it's frankly easier to build and grow up than it is to build big and come down. It's a different business model, it's a different product set, it's just a very different mindset all around. And so we thought, hey, this is a perfect opportunity to get into the market, establish a very strong position, and essentially do that without necessarily having the very well-funded large players at the top as your direct competition. And that strategy worked quite well. Again, we're 2,500 customers. A very large portion of those are in the mid-market, and we're clearly dominant in that space today as a market leader. What we've seen over time is, again, that you get into that space, you establish yourself, and with establishing ourselves, building great product and having great market credibility, and in fact a lot of success with our customers, we're continually being pulled now up market. So we've got enterprise customers coming to us and saying, hey, we've heard what you do, and we think it's applicable to us as well. And so that's where now we're seeing a tremendous amount of growth up market.
Rob, you have a question from the audience. I'll read it out. Rajashekar Rajendran is asking, how did you tackle NetSuite's mid-market focus, mid-size market focus?
Well, interesting. I'm not sure exactly what the question is about, but let me talk a little bit about NetSuite, because that's a significant relationship in our history and in our story here. About 2009, we were able to sign an OEM deal with NetSuite. NetSuite actually resells Adaptive as its own financial planning and analytics product. So it's the NetSuite financial planning module. So NetSuite's reselling our product, and that's been a great relationship for us. So NetSuite also targeting initially mid-tier or mid-size businesses and moving themselves quite a bit up market into the enterprise. And so very complementary approach to the market, very complementary target market in the CFO, and from a product perspective, very complementary products. Really, NetSuite looking at all things historical, transactions for both financial as well as front office transactions, whereas Adaptive is really all forward-looking. We're looking at what's going to happen in the future, and so putting those two pieces together is actually a great fit. So for us, the NetSuite story is one of partnership, and it's been a very positive relationship.
So I'll summarize a little bit for the audience, the NetSuite situation. NetSuite's product is an ERP for the mid-market, whereas Adaptive Insights product is forecasting for the mid-market, right? Now both are going up market, but that's where they both started. So if you look at the synergy, it was a complementary product set that went well together, which is what Rob is saying, is that NetSuite then started reselling and using that as a complementary product. Great. So what about financing? So $4.5 million Series A, what has happened since on the financing side, and when was the last time you raised money? What kind of valuations are we talking now? How did you build that valuation?
Yeah, that's always an interesting story. So raised money early on, as we've talked about, raised a series of rounds. Kind of think about our financing almost in two phases. There was, we've raised a little over $100 million today. The first phase, I'd say about the first $35 million, was really building the early validation, continuing to validate products, markets, our go-to-market strategy, and essentially our ability to execute as a company with a business model that made sense. So with that, we got very good early traction, got to a point of profitability, and then essentially went out and raised more money to accelerate growth. And so phase two of then the financing story really is a growth story. It's we've raised so far another $65 million that has been really earmarked towards stepping on the gas and driving top-line growth. So it's been about 2 years now since our last financing, and I would expect there'll probably be more financing here in the future.
And how long was the $35 million phase? So 2003 till when was that $35 million phase of validation, getting to the product market fit at scale?
Yeah, so that first $35 million lasted us from 2003 up until 2012.
Oh, wow.
And then in 2012, we raised our first growth round with Norwest Venture Partners, and in 2013 raised our second round of growth capital with Bessemer. And in all cases, prior investors have been very supportive of the company and participated in every round. So we've been fortunate to have a series of investors that are both patient as well as incredibly supportive. And so it's been I'd say it's been a great financing story.
And has it, your last round, were you already at unicorn valuations, or?
We were not quite there yet, but I think we're getting close.
Yeah, this time you will get there. All right, so let's see if no other questions from the audience. Okay, we have 3 more minutes of this conversation. What has been some of your highlight lessons that you want to convey to this group?
You know, I think that some of what we talked about early on is in terms of when you do your financing is an interesting thing to understand. When you do it, how you do it, and who you do it with. You know, if I look back on it, I think I would go about things slightly differently today if I could, and that is I do think a little bit further down the road than just a concept and a PowerPoint deck is probably a wise way to go about financing. Get a little bit more traction under your belt, have a better sense for the fact that you've got demonstrable validation points in terms of customer usage and customer feedback for the VCs. I think it's helpful. It helps you to have a little bit of freedom to be creative early on without the need to necessarily be reporting back every success and failure along the way. And so I would say, while I was able to raise off a PowerPoint deck, if I did it again today, I'd build out a little bit more product and try my best to sort of get out to market a bit before trying to raise external financing.
Well, and that's kind of the market today forces you to do that. The market demands that you have significant validation even to raise a seed round. So
right.
The option of PowerPoint financing, concept financing is not really available to entrepreneurs very much these days. So it's kind of like you want to do that, that is a best practice anyway, and the market forces you to do that. So most of the entrepreneurs have been told, at least, that this is where you have to go.
Yeah. So I think in addition to that, I think a couple of other things are very important. I think really understanding your market and your target market, who's your buyer, what is the value proposition that you're creating for them, and in in that target market, really understanding how you segment that and where you're going to focus. And I think whether it's with product, whether it's with how you get to that market, whether it's the messaging, but just the word focus, I can't underscore enough. Understand who you're selling to, what you're selling to them, and why it's valuable to them, and be relentlessly focused on succeeding in one area before you try to get yourself spread out in too many different directions. So,
product positioning is something that we stress very heavily in the 1 million by 1 million program, and I think it is really at the heart of every single really outlandish success story that we have seen is a really laser-sharp positioning and understanding of the customer needs, the target market, the segmentation is really, really critical. Absolutely. Okay, so thank you, Rob, for all the insights. I know you're going to stay on a bit, at least for a little while. So we are going to switch to the mentoring part of the session, and Jude is our first presenter. Jude, if you could unmute your line and tell us what you're up to, that would be terrific.
Okay, yep, I'm on. Let me know if you can hear me. But thank you, Sharana and Maureen, for setting this up. I really appreciate the opportunity to gather your insights. I've actually been following 1 million by 1 million and yourself on Quora. Definitely always appreciate your answers a lot. So just to get a bit about me, Jude Chi, I'm based out in Chicago and currently working on Hello Healthy, which is a health and wellness startup focused on workplace health and wellness. So my passion for health really came about because for me growing up, I always wanted to be a superhero, but unfortunately, I never actually developed any superpowers. But I figured one way of actually helping and saving people was through health and wellness. Next slide, please. So Hello Healthy is really focused on workplace health and wellness, which is an attempt by employers or businesses to help their employees become healthier. The reason behind this is that it costs companies a lot of money if they have unhealthy employees because of higher insurance premiums monthly, higher claims, so medical claims, and then just lower productivity overall. So when it comes to insurance claims, most companies that offer medical insurance cover about 85% of the cost, and the employee only covers about 15%. So as the cost of healthcare keeps going up, most companies are really incentivized to want to get their employees healthier. So how that's done is through health and wellness programs, which is basically attempts by the company to get the employee healthy. It might be giving the employee a free gym membership, a subsidized gym membership, or having a fitness center on site. But the main issue with most programs right now is that they really haven't been as effective because behavior is incredibly difficult to change. Yeah. So how most companies are currently operating their programs is through incentives, so paying employees to get healthy, or through some version of an app, or maybe a wearable like a Fitbit. But again, behavior is so difficult to change. So giving someone a Fitbit or gym membership isn't actually going to help them get healthier or suddenly change their behavior. So next slide, please. So our model is really focused on what I'm called first principles of human motivation, which says that you're more likely to do something you like than something you don't like. So our goal is to help each employee find something they like. So that's done by sending a new wellness, what I call a wellness pack each month to the office. So 1 month might be sending a yoga instructor to work with employees, so have a bunch of yoga classes. The next month might be Zumba. The next month might be CrossFit. The next month might be just healthy snacks. So really expose employees to a wide variety of things that can help them get healthier. And the goal is for each employee to eventually find something they like, and they can do it from a more intrinsic perspective than if you're paying them to do it. Next slide, please. So the market validation really is around employers really being incentivized to do this. So right now, most employers, about 90%, already offer some form of wellness, whether it's a subsidized gym membership or offering free snacks to their employees, or just a variety of things. And most employers right now are really struggling with their bottom line when it comes to affordable care. So 67% have actually identified employees' poor health habits as one of the challenges to keeping their healthcare plans and keeping the healthcare costs down. And then a lot of data has validated that healthy employees or unhealthy employees are 400% more costly than healthy employees. So again, really incentivized to want to solve this problem. Next slide, please. Then currently the health and wellness market is about a $6 billion industry, and it keeps growing. The focus for Hello Healthy is really going to be for the smaller to mid-sized companies, so anywhere from 10 employees up to about 300 or so. And the reason behind that is most of those companies really haven't implemented health and wellness programs yet, part of it being the cost and part of it being that up to this point, they really hadn't been incentivized to do that. But with Obamacare, so the Affordable Care Act, now telling employers that they have to provide insurance, most small to mid-sized companies are going to become even more incentivized to provide a way to keep their employees healthier. Then next slide, please. This is just an overview of our product. So really it's more service-oriented and less focused on the technology side. So starts off with consulting with the business, figuring out what your constraints are. So for example, do they have enough space in the office? Do they have a fitness center on site? What are the employee demographics? What are some of the issues they face? Is it people that are more obese? Is there a knowledge gap in nutrition? So a wide variety of things. So once you understand that, we can create a year plan for that company. And then each month, we send them something new from our aggregated network of wellness suppliers, so independent contractors from yoga instructors to Zumba to CrossFit, a wide variety. Next slide, please. Then here are just some of the competitors. So right now, it's mostly broken up into 3 categories. You have health and wellness companies that are focused around apps or different online platforms, and those really help you track your wellness activities and help you compete with coworkers. And then you have the ones that are wearable. So, for example, the Apple iWatch, you have the Fitbit, you have the Jawbone. These are devices to help track your wellness activities for you. And then the last main category is really incentivizers. So companies based around incentivizing employees to get healthy by providing them with either gift cards, actual money, or just a variety of things to really push them to get healthier. But again, next slide, please.
Just a second before we go to the next slide. There are a couple of companies that I have seen that have very successful offerings. Granted, they're all in the enterprise space, not mid-market at all or not small business at all. One is Shape Up out of Rhode Island.
Yeah, so I actually met the CEO a couple of weeks ago. He was out here in Chicago. I actually had dinner with them. Yeah, so Shape Up is a social platform for wellness. So getting people together and basically developing goals to get healthier together. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so those are more the challenges. But go ahead. I think you had a question regarding that.
And then there's another one in that same category is Virgin Health.
Mm-hmm. I have not heard of Virgin Health.
You have heard of Virgin Health?
No, I have not. I have not heard of them yet.
We have the case study on our blog, actually. You can look it up there.
Oh, really?
Shape Up and Virgin Health, both case studies are on the blog.
Okay.
All right, so let's go to the next.
So our really unique value proposition is around making health or wellness something that's like less online and just more focused on let's help you find something you like. Because right now, there are already a lot of fitness websites, apps, wearables, and our goal is that employees don't need another one of those because those ones do their job. Our job is really more on the forefront of helping an employee find that one activity that they are really going to like and can see the rest of their life. And then once they have that, they'll found that passion, that's when those apps or websites become valuable because they can then use it to track themselves and see what their progress is.
So well, if I'm hearing you right, what you're saying is you kind of want to introduce the workforce into certain kinds of activities like Zumba and yoga and so forth on a, this one month one thing, another month another thing, and then you're expecting that they will be pursuing whichever ones that really resonate their own long-term basis. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, exactly. So we are more on the forefront to say right now, unless someone grew up being an athlete or something else, most people really haven't had the opportunity to be introduced properly to all the wellness or physical activities that are out there. So an example I always give is when I was in school, so I went to Dartmouth College in New Hampshire, I went skiing with some friends for the first time, and it was a terrible experience because I had never done skiing before, so I had no idea what was happening. So I just never went back after that. But then after I graduated from college, some friends took me skiing, and I had the opportunity to have a really good instructor that walked me through what is skiing, what are some of the ways to go about it, really helped me understand it. And since then, I pretty much go out to Colorado to go ski every winter at least 2 or 3 times because I love it that much. It's kind of the same thing with a lot of wellness activities. If someone really hasn't had proper introduction into it, it's not likely they're going to like it. So, for example, if I were to give you a free gym membership to go to a gym, if you've never worked out before, you'd be very intimidated. So our goal is really to help people get that baseline understanding of each activity so that they're more educated and can really embrace it more.
Okay. So let's talk about your business model. That's your next slide anyway. So.
Yeah. So it's really a subscription-based model for employers. So they pay us per month per employee fee, and then each month we send a different activity to them. And again, the employers are incentivized to pay for this because if the employees get healthier, it really helps them with reining in their healthcare costs. And then for us, our main cost is really the independent contractors, some of the other products that we have, so like snacks and the various things that we send along. And
so it sounds like it's basically an instructor supplying business. Is that correct? You kind of
yes, it is. Yeah, so we hire independent contractors and vet them out to make sure that they are people that can work with new employees or new people that haven't done these before. So we take the work out of employers having to go seek these things out for themselves. And then we send the independent contractors to the office. So we just coordinate all of those things.
And how much margin does this have? Have you done the numbers to gauge what does it cost to deliver the service versus what does it cost to source the contractor?
Those are one of the things that are working out, but right now it's about 50%. But we're hoping to see if we can reduce the cost a little bit more as well.
And where can you have technology injected here to give you leverage? Is this going to be a pure...
That was one of my questions to you. But where I see the leverage is eventually making it a self-service, so employers can simply go to our web platform and order these services for themselves. So that would be one way of doing that.
Well, the most obvious model, comparable model that comes to my mind is the Uber model, right? If you have have the back end properly mapped out such that all these independent contractors, various kinds of independent contractors are part of your system, and then they can be scheduled and contacted in fairly complex back end, but can be contacted, can be paid and so forth. I mean, in this case, paying doesn't even matter. And you are paying. The subscription model is from the employers, so that doesn't really have a huge complexity in the payment component. But in terms of handling the back end of placing independent contractors on a large scale can be something that you could get leverage out of from a product like that.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay, so.
And then this is just the timeline. So we had the first employer that we worked with. I'm still working with them, but did a 5-month validation pilot and did that for about 5 months and was able to get a decent amount of revenue out of that and really learned a lot. And then looking to officially launch in April. And then for most of the year, looking to focus mostly on the Chicago area and then really focus on building out a team and potentially raising some capital if we really need to. And then after 2015, start focusing on, made a mistake there. That's the last one should have said 2016 and beyond, looking to expand nationally and then potentially expand to monthly subscription services, so B2C marketing or B2C service.
So it seems like you are assuming that there is going to be a fundraising happening at some point this year. I would like to caution you a bit on that. The kind of business that you're describing, unless there is a substantial technology component to it, it's going to be hard to finance. It will be viewed as a pure services business, and those kinds of businesses don't get financed. You're going to have to bootstrap.
Okay.
So keep that in mind. Do not build your business predicating on the assumption that you're going to be able to raise a lot of financing here.
Yeah, agreed. And thanks for that insight, because it's something that I was also trying to figure out if, one, we really do need to raise any type of funding or if we can just bootstrap for the entire thing.
Yeah,
and then
I
the
think
technology
if you can bootstrap the entire thing, that would be more, see, capital is a risk, right? If you have capital on your critical path, and if you cannot raise capital, that puts you out of business. But if you do not have capital on your critical path, the chances of your being able to survive is higher. And in this case, I think just given the nature of the business, my counsel would be to not put capital on your critical path.
Okay.
Rob, do you have feedback for Jude?
Sorry, just get myself off of mute there. A couple thoughts for you. The one thing I think you need to think about as well is the churn here. So subscription business, you get these employers signed up. You're essentially giving them this rotating set of monthly options. How do you keep them long term, and how do you make it? How do you demonstrate value to them after, say, the first 12 months, where you've cycled through all of the various offerings? So that would be one, and then I guess the second that's not totally clear to me is you do yoga 1 month, then Zumba the next month. What if I like yoga as an employee? Then am I off contracting on that and doing that on my own, or is that part of the service? Can I ask that come back every month?
And
Have
so
you thought about these issues, Jude?
yes, we have. So for the last question you had, if an employee likes a specific thing, so after each month, we are going to look to make an easy transition for them to continue doing whatever service was offered that month. So if it was yoga, we are going to look to build relationships with different yoga, with different gyms or yoga studios in the city to siphon those employees into it. So let's say the employee is Mary. We say, Mary, there is a yoga studio about 2 miles from your apartment. Would that be one that you would want to continue your yoga practice with? So that type of thing. But we haven't really gotten into that as much. So that's a really good observation. And then as far as the churn, at the end of the month or at the end of the year, we would evaluate with the employees and the employers to see what were the most popular activities and should we bring those back, because wellness in itself is something that's ongoing. You don't just do it one time and that be the end of it. So if at the end of those 12 months we do a survey, figure out what employees like, what they didn't, we can bring back the most popular ones and then introduce new ones as well to sort of continue that relationship. Because at the end of the day, this is more of a perk for the employees, so you want to continue offering on an ongoing basis instead of just like one time. Even though our model really is helping employees find just one thing they like. but the other goal is variety as well. It's much easier to continue a fitness regimen if it's something new each time. So if you're just doing yoga every month, it gets boring really quickly, but if you knew that next month is going to be something else, you're more likely to continue with your fitness regimen.
So I would kind of say that it makes me a little bit nervous about this whole issue of the, being able to continue ongoing subscriptions unless you have some, some level of maybe something more like the Shape Up, Virgin Health types of offerings, which give people reason to kind of maybe work together, have the employers be able to do something, that brings people together and encourage them to work in teams and to work out in teams or buddy systems, whatever. I mean, if you go through those case studies, you'll learn a lot about how those programs are set up for enterprises. But bringing some of those nuances into your product design, I think, will give you more stickiness and handle churn, because otherwise I think the churn is going to be a real problem.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So really introducing the social element. So part of this is also going to be introducing behavioral management and change. So having with each month's offering also have some form of challenge, either between different departments or within between businesses. So a way to really keep employees continuously motivated. But thank you so much. Really appreciate the insights from both you and Rob.
You're very welcome. We're going to go to Ganesh from Jaipur, India. Ganesh, are you on the line?
Yeah, hi, sir. Good morning. I'm on the line.
Speak up, Ganesh. We're hearing a very feeble sound, so you need to give us a robust.
Yeah, hi, Samana. Yeah, hi, Samana. Good morning.
That's better. Good morning. Good evening to you. Okay, tell us, what are you working on?
Yeah, hi, Samana. This is Ganesh, and I'm working on this Appendix product from last 3 to 4 years. Basically, social product.
We just cannot hear or understand what you're saying.
Now it is clear.
Yeah, but you kind of have to speak clearly, because right now you're mumbling, and I think it's impossible. One, you have some static in your call, plus you're mumbling, so it's hard to follow you.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Hello, I'm just changing the position. Hello.
Yes. Go ahead.
Hello. Hi, someone. Yes. About disturbance. My name is Ganesh, and I'm working on this product called Jaipur Belt. It's basically belt system for body support, and it's for those people who have to do, the manual work. They have to bend down frequently, they have to pick heavy loads and all these stuff.
Okay.
And I have around 7 areas of application, including the agriculture, health, construction, MSME, packaging industry, like that. So it basically, what it does, the product basically share the load from human spine and waist up to 80%, and it can fit the different ergonomics, and the capacity can be configured or can be set.
Okay.
So, right now, we are done with the prototyping and product validation. Validation in terms of technically, and we got many awards in India, from the Indian Merchant Chamber Top 5 product award from IMC, So also got an award from the APJ Abdul Kalam, Narendra Modi, and all these people. So so the product is quite recognized as well as a social product.
So the product is recognized. You have you have a working product, you have won awards. Do you have customers?
Yes. Like we have customer who waiting for product delivery, but like we just have we have not delivered any order yet. Like we have few people, few customers who asking for our products, but like we telling yet. Like we feeling like there should be some improvement, some more on the aesthetic wise and.
Have more product work to do, you were saying, but I still would like to understand how are you going to sell this product? You know, I understand that some more work on the aesthetics of the product design and so forth, but who is going to be the customer? How are you going to go to market with this?
Customers, the consumer would be the farmers, laborers, or the aged person, the housewives or MSME peoples. So I can reach through.
You are going to go to market as a consumer product?
Yes.
Okay. And how are you going to? How are people going to find out about this product?
Like it's like there would be multiple channels. So one through the general medical shops or general the sports office, and it would be like a more or less the orthopedic and medical shop easily.
I see. So you're going to go to market through the orthopedic medical offices, and you're going to work with. Have you started?
Doctors, yeah.
Have you started any of these discussions? Have you had conversations with orthopedics or these medical offices that are likely to become your channels? Uh-oh. Sorry, has Ganesh dropped off, Maureen? I think his call disconnected.
Renowned in Jaipur, also evaluation.
Ganesh, you are cutting off. You're coming on and off into the call. So I'm going to continue giving you feedback based on whatever, little bit we have heard and whatever we have seen from your slides. If you are planning to go to market with these orthopedic offices, medical offices, the first thing that you should do at this point is to get a good number of these offices in conversation with you. And if you listen to what Rob was saying earlier, that's exactly the process that he followed. In his target market, which was mid-market CFOs, he went and gathered a group of 50 mid-market CFOs in that product validation process itself. So you should do the same thing. You should go get these orthopedic offices, medical offices, and get 50, 100 of those around you in this process now, so that you start getting the feedback from them right now of exactly how they see this going, how they see the product coming to market, how, what their feedback is on the product itself, what their feedback is in terms of what is it sell this product. So that's my, primary suggestion about your next action item in terms of development. So Ganesh, I have given you a bunch of feedback. You're going to have to listen to the recording to pick up that feedback. Just we're cutting in and out. Can't really wait for you to come back on, and the call is kind of disruptive. I have already given you feedback. I would request you to, once the recording is published, I would request you to go listen to the recording, okay? All right. I think we're going to move. I know we have one other presenter who had sent in slides, but I think he's stuck somewhere in traffic. Is that correct, Maureen? In which case, what I'd like to do is move to the, okay, Ashok is not here yet, fine. I am going to advance to the segment of the presentation where I'm going to tell you about 1M and how to use the program and the resources, both free resources and premium resources. And then, we'll have plenty of time for Q&A, I hope. Now, if you like what we're doing here, I would strongly appreciate, all of us at 1M would strongly appreciate if you refer serious entrepreneurs to us. And this word serious is in bold for good reason, because, entrepreneurship is a very, very involved, very intense process. You have to commit to something for a long time. It's a marathon, not a sprint. It's something that is going to require your commitment of many years of your life. So that's the kind of entrepreneurs we are interested in working with, who are willing to make those kinds of commitments and, make it all happen. All right, so here's what we do in 1 Million by 1 Million to help you advance in your journey. So 1mby1m.com is where you will find everything, all the resources. We have a very, very powerful blog, and many of you already read it, and I strongly recommend that you continue to read it because, one, it's free. Two, we have huge amount of knowledge that is being imparted through this from a very, very interesting, exciting, and knowledgeable body of entrepreneurs. Today you heard from Rob. Rob has been on the blog as well. And then we also have the Entrepreneur Journeys book series, of which we've published 12 volumes. The latest one that we're celebrating today is $1 Billion Unicorns, which is the 12th volume of Entrepreneur Journeys. Everything is available on Amazon Kindle. And each of these books, double-click down on important entrepreneurship topics. Bootstrapping using services, bootstrapping using a paycheck. All these are, the dimensions of getting a company off the ground that we have really double-clicked down on. We have a book called Feminine Feminism, which celebrates entrepreneurship, women in entrepreneurship, and deals with some of the topics and issues that women are specifically dealing with. We have from e-commerce to Web 3.0, dealing with entrepreneurs and their journeys and what their learnings are for that particular segment. So if you're working on that segment, that's a great book to go learn from. Carnival in the Cloud is on cloud computing. Feed India is focused on Indian entrepreneurship. And $1 Billion Unicorns is focused on these highly very, very fast growth companies that are reaching billion-dollar market cap levels. Everything is at shramanamitra.com and 1mby1m.com. You'll find all these are accessible from those two domains. There are a ton of videos. We have plenty of videos on the site, and you will be able to answer a lot of your questions, what we call FAQs, through these videos. These roundtables, the free roundtables, happen almost every Thursday. The next 2 Thursdays we are off because I haven't had a vacation in a long time, so I'm going to be in Barcelona for 10 days. The next week and the week after we do not have these roundtables. We will resume in April. But we have done, this is our 252nd roundtable, so this has been around for a while. Thousands and thousands of people have been using this program, both in the live version as well as on the recordings. A lot of people are using this material on the recordings as well. So if you want to reserve a slot to actually pitch and get coaching here, please go to the free public roundtable page on the blog, on the website, and register to either pitch or attend, and Maureen will make sure that you have a slot to present if you requested one. Beyond that, we have the premium program where we charge a $1,000 annual membership fee for unlimited access to a very deep and broad set of services. We have an incredibly strong methodology, and that is proven methodology. And the more we are understanding what these unicorn entrepreneurs are doing, the more I have confidence on our methodology, on what we are recommending to you, because so many companies, so many highly valued companies have followed this methodology to get to their success. So you will get extensive and effective methodology guidance through the program. We have a very powerful curriculum that is delivered in video lectures and case studies. We offer you help with business development, introductions to potential customers, channel partners, whatever you need. We help you with strategy consulting similar to these sessions, but they are private, members-only sessions and much more in-depth sessions. We help you with financing if you are ready to be financed, and we will help you also diagnose that process, manage that process, build the resources and the collaterals necessary to drive a financing process, and when you're ready, we will also introduce you to investors. And we have a lot of clout in the media, so we can get the word out on your behalf, out there to get you known in the universe out there so that you're not the best kept secret in the entrepreneurship world. The $1 Million Club link that's on your screen right now is a set of case studies of our success stories of entrepreneurs who have crossed $1 million in revenue. The ROI equation that we provide in 1M is $375,000 plus 5 to 10% equity worth of value for just a $1,000 annual membership fee, and no equity. We do not charge you equity. So that's a really powerful, ROI, and it's kind of like a no-brainer if you are really serious about entrepreneurship and you need to learn from somebody who knows, some program that really is effective. This is kind of like a very, very good value program. We give you lots of orientation on how to use the program effectively. The program is like a gym membership. So if you have a gym membership, you still have to do the weights, you have to do the, aerobics, and you have to do the treadmill, you have to do the Stairmaster. All of these help you get in shape. You have to do the workouts. 1M is exactly the same way. You subscribe to the program, but then you have to do the curriculum, you have to come to the roundtables, you have to discuss your strategy, and that's the immersive process through which you grow and develop your business and become successful. That's something that I want to make it very clear, is just by subscribing to the program, if you do not do the work, you cannot get in shape effectively. So do look at the 1M self-assessment, which is on the website, and it's accessible in the public domain. It's a set of questions that I would like you to ask yourselves in the context of your business. And that will give you tremendous insights into where you are, what questions can you answer, what questions you have knowledge gaps on, and you have to fill those knowledge gaps. There's tons of material on the website about how to evaluate the premium program, what to expect from it, and so forth. Feel free to go look at these video FAQs and general literature. It will, make it obvious for you whether you want to join this program or not. The program is not for everybody. You have to decide whether this program is for you or not by going through the material on the website and evaluating it for yourself. Now, I'll tell you a little bit about the curriculum. We teach the curriculum in once you're a premium member, you have access to the entire curriculum, unlimited access to the entire curriculum. It's organized in core and electives. The core consists of 7 modules, and then the electives have another set of modules, and we keep adding actually to those as well. And it's all taught in video lectures and case studies. We've had over 600 successful entrepreneurs be part of the program, and we have essentially had their case studies captured. They have been very generous and very forthcoming in sharing their success stories. And then we've taken all that and developed very powerful case studies, very powerful insights from them, and then stitched it all up into video lectures that help you learn in a very efficient manner from very, very successful entrepreneurs. So the core curriculum has 7 topics: bootstrapping, positioning, market sizing, customer validation, financing, team building, and customer acquisition. And there are many sub-modules in each of those. Then we have electives, which is Web 3.0 and e-commerce, cloud computing and business solutions, mobile and social, healthcare, IT, online education. We have a new module called Building Unicorn Companies, etc. And the curriculum is where you get to learn flexibly in asynchronous mode. You can do it at your own time, and it's basically asynchronous mode learning. The roundtables, the private roundtables, are the synchronous mode learning where you actually get to talk and discuss your business. Our methodology is lean, capital efficient, bootstrap startups. So we do want you to validate. We do want you to do, a significant amount of bootstrapping before you go out to raise money. And that's just the way the industry is playing out right now. That is the industry best practice. Everybody will tell you that that is the way to build companies these days. That's not the only way to build companies, but mostly this is turning out to be the best practice in the industry. Now, I told you that we also help you with media exposure. So on the press page, you'll find a lot of coverage of previous premium members, and we give you access to our social media channels. We have extensive presence in social media. Just on LinkedIn, I have 90,000, close to 90,000 followers. Then Twitter, Facebook, everything we do, we kind of filter through our entire social media footprint, which is very significant today. And you are welcome to use that footprint to propagate your messages. This is our blog. We also help you, let you use the blog to propagate your messages. So it's a very broad set of value propositions for just $1,000 annual membership fee. We have an affiliate program. So if you're in a community that you want to develop entrepreneurship in, you're welcome to become a partner of the 1M1M program. We're very happy to partner with anyone who's trying to develop entrepreneurship in any part of the world, and we have several models through which we can strike those partnerships. Now we have a full roster of roundtables in April, so please feel free to pick whatever works on your schedule and make sure you book your slot, because almost invariably our roundtables are overbooked. So you will need to book your slot and send slides in to Maureen to hold your slot and, put your place in the queue. Vision India 2020 is an ideation book that we published. Aside from the 12 volumes of Entrepreneur Journeys, this is the 13th book that we have published from our portfolio. And this is a book which focuses on India, but is applicable to all the emerging markets, I would say. And it takes different problems, different problem domains, and develops business ideas. So there are $45 billion business ideas written in fiction format, as if we're sitting in 2020 having built these companies. So check this out. It's a very cool, very fun read because it's fiction. We also have a 1M1M Incubator in a Box platform, which we use in our partnerships with various companies primarily, but also other kinds of partners to run incubation programs for them. So it's, essentially we are working with a number of corporations to run their incubation programs in different communities, some internal, some external, and Incubator in a Box is our offering in that domain. So just to recap of some of the Entrepreneur Journeys books, $1 Billion Unicorns is the latest one. Other recent ones, Carnival in the Cloud, Bootstrapping with a Paycheck, and From E-Commerce to Web 3.0. So check all the books out on Kindle. It's a very low-priced entry point into the 1M1M program. Each book costs about $10. So, very cheap. In different countries, we have different pricing. So you have to look at what's the pricing for your country. But anywhere that Amazon Kindle delivers, the books are available. Okay, so I believe Ashok is on the call, right, Ashok? If you could unmute your line and tell me that.
Shamla, I'm in.
All right, so I'm going to go to your slides, and we will do your presentation next. Just give me a moment to scroll back there. This is your presentation. All right, go ahead, Ashok.
Sure, yeah. So hello again, sorry I got stuck up, sorry for the delay. So yeah, so I've been in the startup world for about 8 years. I've, my first one is a complete flop. The second one did okay, and I'm getting ready right now for the big round. So, last 2 years I've been working for a startup in the SaaS space, which is an online CRM, and it's still growing very well. I've seen the startup grow from idea stage to $1 million revenue, working closely with the CEO. So I've learned a lot of things there, and now starting to put all into action, everything into action. So the idea is, the code name that I have is flowapp.io. So yeah, so it essentially helps businesses automate a lot of workflows, whether it's sales, marketing, or internal workflows that they have. So let me jump into the next slide. Yeah. So what is it? So Flow App is like Zapier, except that it's multi-step. You can have conditional logic, and you can do more advanced things like conditional logic and waiting. So to give you a typical use case, okay, so this is like, let's say you have a website and you use Woohoo forms on your website, and then let's say you use a Salesforce CRM, and then you have a MailChimp for your marketing, email marketing. So a typical use case for somebody who registers on your website is like, send him an email, intro email first, then add him to my CRM, then probably use my invoicing app to send him an email, send him an invoice, wait for 2 days, check if he has paid the invoice. If he has not made a payment, then maybe send him a reminder email after 2 days. So this is the kind of workflow that spans across your web forms, your CRM, your marketing apps. So it basically integrates workflows across the different cloud apps.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like a multi-step Zapier with conditional logic and wait and other things.
So Ashok, you're using Zapier as a comparable here. What are the metrics of Zapier? How big is Zapier? How many users does it have? What kind of monetization does it have?
Well, I've done some research, but information was very hard to come by on Zapier. But by one stat that I could get, Zapier has over 1 million accounts. We don't know, what is the yield on each of those accounts, but I don't know. I have no idea about the valuations, but I can only judge. It could be easily into hundreds of millions of, 100 million plus valuation. So,
is it a venture-funded company?
It's a Y Combinator-backed company.
So, how much money have they raised? What's the last round of financing? We can extrapolate from there, also to some extent, not always, but to some extent.
Right. If you want me to do a quick check on Crunchbase, let me.
Because you're obviously using this company as a comparable and kind of spinning off that somehow. It would be important to know that it is really a success story.
Right. So as I see from Crunchbase, they say they have raised 1.2 million in 3 rounds from 4 investors so far.
Right. So that's not a good comparable.
Right. It's not a great number. Yeah. So they're founded in 2001 and Y Combinator-backed company, and they have 3 rounds of investment and 1.2 million.
I would not use this as a comparable.
Mm-hmm. Sure. So going ahead. Typical verticals are SaaS, where they use a lot of other SaaS apps for different SaaS apps for marketing, email and user onboarding on SaaS. Okay. Small e-commerce vendors who use apps like Shopify and all. Shopify or Amaze to automate their email marketing and upselling, and sales and marketing agencies who work with their clients to help and automate make their sales and marketing process more and more efficient. So I believe there's a lot of scope for automation of workflow, sales and marketing workflows there. Okay, and
so I'd like to actually see you zero in on some of those core ideas. Like Shopify is a very big platform. Right. Shopify has 500,000 merchants on that platform.
Yes, there are companies who make a living solely out of Shopify marketplace. So that is one of the core. So that is one of the core initial avenues for us to attract customers. We wanted to be there, do a good job on the support and integration with Shopify, get some great reviews, and then build the initial traction there.
If you can build a compelling product that is an add-on to Shopify,
right,
and just monetize that product, that is in itself a reasonable sized market, and then that same logic will hold to the Shopify competitors like GoDaddy, like BigCommerce and Magento and several others. So you could conceivably, if there is an interesting, compelling product that you can scope out that applies to the e-commerce merchants, that in itself could be an interesting business. Rather than going broad, if you can really get specific and deliver a very specific value proposition, I would go that way in terms of the positioning.
Interesting, Shravana, because that is my initial plan as well, to go after e-commerce segment. But I was a little skeptical about the market, the applicability of the idea there, because I thought marketing automation and sales automation could be a more compelling vertical for what I'm doing.
But I don't know. You have to decide on where you can find the killer app for this workflow product. It could be in e-commerce, it could be in marketing automation, it could be wherever. I don't know where that. You have to think through where your killer app is going to be. But wherever your killer app is, I would go into a specific killer app and a specific ecosystem and really sell into that.
Sure, got it. So yeah,
so
as
right
I was saying,
now, the thing that is missing from your presentation so far, or perhaps even your thinking, is what that killer app is going to be. And I would strongly recommend that that is where you emphasize and really focus all your energy on in finding what that killer app is going to be that is going to take you to market.
Sure. Yeah. So I think that's where we're getting to. When, on the go-to-market side, where I specifically list down the verticals, e-commerce. If I go the e-commerce way, it's Shopify, BigCommerce, and others. If I go to marketing automation, it's Mailchimp, Campaign Monitor, and other CRMs that I would be integrating with. But if you look at the, coming back to the question of, focusing on a niche, Shravana. So we are not an app, that will, that the value of our app comes in, purely from integrating with diverse apps. So it has to include e-commerce, it has to include marketing apps, it has to include CRM, it has to include web forms. So it's all about connecting all together. So how would you,
So whatever it is, but it has to have a use case that it's addressing. Even if it ties a bunch of different apps together, it still there needs to be a killer use case, a killer point that it's addressing. That is what I'm getting.
Got it. Yeah.
So I think your challenge right now is very simple. You go figure out, think through all these different ideas that you're playing with and come up with that killer use case and then build the company around that.
Sure. So, and you're saying that, Shopify and small e-commerce is a space that is big enough to identify the killer use case.
E-commerce is a very big space. There are millions of merchants around the world, and there will be more. E-commerce is very big.
Sure. I'll think on that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So we are actually ready for Q&A. We have about 6 minutes left of the session, and I'm going to put up sorry for jumping around on the slides. We had to change orders a bit because Ashok got stuck. So I chose to cover all the other stuff first. So if you'd like to call in, let us know in public chat that you're calling in. You can also ask questions in the public chat. So happy to take questions from the public chat at this point or on the phone.
Sorry, I didn't get the public chat. Is this to me? Yeah.
Public chat is, we are on a WebEx call right now. So WebEx has a public chat that you can type in your questions. Most of the room is not actually dialed into the call. You are because you're a presenter, but most of the room, most of the audience is in public chat.
Sure, I see.
So while you're thinking about what questions to ask, let me also introduce you to Irina Patterson. Irina is on the 1M1M team, and she will be happy to answer questions about the 1M1M program. If you need to contact somebody and ask specific questions about joining the program, please email Irina at irina@1mby1m.com, and she'll be happy to get on the phone with you or Skype or whatever, but email her first and set up a time to talk. And very often she will be able to, send you answers via email already.
Hi, everybody. This is Irina. Just wanted to say hi.
There you go. Irina is on the call, and she is saying hello.
Yeah.
So yeah. Ashok, do you have more questions? You wanted to talk more?
No, I just wanted to invite criticism on the idea.
So Daksh, I believe, has sent an email. Daksh Pasbola has sent an email to Maureen asking to call in and chat. Daksh, are you on the line? I don't hear Daksh yet. So all the other folks in the room, you don't have any questions, you don't have any comments, nothing? You're all very shy, it seems? Shyness is not something entrepreneurs can afford to be, You cannot be shy.
Shamana, this is Irina. While everybody is thinking about the questions, maybe you can explain what is our elevator pitch game is.
Good idea, actually. So some of you may have experienced the elevator pitch game at our 250th roundtable very recently, 2 weeks back. So what we did with one of the entrepreneurs is we played a 5-minute elevator pitch game. And what we did was had Scott Clark present his elevator pitch. And then we, all of us, all of you in the room, the entire audience, and myself and Irina, everybody, we kind of gave him feedback on his elevator pitch. And in the course of the 5 minutes, you will see, if you listen to this recording, you will see that in the course of the 5 minutes, the elevator pitch improved substantially. So this is one thing that you have to get right. You have to get a good, solid elevator pitch under your belt. And to do that, if you want to use this forum to refine your elevator pitch, please feel free to let us know, and we will schedule you to play an elevator pitch game as well. All right.
Or maybe somebody would like to play an elevator pitch now. You can do that.
Does anybody want to play an elevator pitch game now? Well, if you're not prepared today, but we have, a full roster of roundtables in April. There are 5 roundtables in April, so just let Maureen know that you want to play an elevator pitch game, and she'll make sure you're scheduled. All right, I don't see Daksh in the call, so I think we can wrap up for today. Please, by all means, if you haven't been doing so, if you have missed prior roundtables, please go back and look at the 1M1M Roundtables YouTube channel, and we're going to have like a break going forward. You're very welcome to kind of use that time to go play back some of those recordings and catch up on some of the material, because we've had incredibly impressive and high quality material in the last 6 months of roundtables where we've always had guests, basically. There's a lot of insights there. Is that you, Daksh, on the call?
Hello?
Yeah, is that Daksh?
Yeah, this is Ganesh.
Oh, it's Ganesh. Okay, go ahead. Do you have a question?
Yes, I'm sorry, earlier I could not connect with you. Why should be my marketing strategy in my product, in case of my product?
So I've already answered this question. You need to, this recording will be available on the YouTube channel and on our blog tomorrow. you can then go listen to the recording and you will have answers to your questions.
Okay.
Okay? All right, folks. Thank you for coming, and we will see you back here, same time, same place, on April 2nd. Thank you very much for coming. Bye.
Thank you.